So what is a mole? A mole is a specific quantity of something, same thing as a dozen equals 12, or a few equals 2 or 3. A mole is equal to 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. Huge number, huge. So if you had a gram of oxygen, it wouldn't be the same as saying you had 1 mole of oxygen. You can find the molar mass of each element by going to the periodic table, finding their atomic mass unit, saying, okay, that's a 16 on their atomic mass unit, and if you had that many grams of that, that would equal a mole of that element, oxygen in this case. You can also find the molar mass of more complex molecules, say hydrogen peroxide or propane. And you can do this by taking the molar mass of each components, oxygen, which is 1.01 grams per mole, times 2, because there are 2 here, and oxygen, which is 16.00 grams, times 2, because there are 2 of them here, adding those together to get their molar mass of 34.02 grams per mole of hydrogen peroxide. So now that we understand moles and our molar mass, we can convert our moles into grams and grams into moles using stoichiometry and other math fractions. So if we had a mole of sodium, we could say on this next line that, okay, a mole of sodium is equal to 22.99 grams of sodium. This box is more like an equal sign, because a mole of sodium equals 22.99 grams. And by doing this, we can cancel our labels, and we're left with the label of grams of sodium. So our final answer, since these are all ones, is 22.99 grams of sodium. We can also do this in reverse by saying, okay, we might have 48 grams of sodium, and I need to get this into moles. So we can say, okay, there are 22.99 grams of sodium per mole of sodium. Cancel these labels since they're divided by each other, and get our final label of moles, which is what we want. And now we can do 48 divided by 29 or 22.99, which gives us our final answer of 2.1 moles of sodium, rounded to our 2 significant figures. So, if we wanted a different label rather than moles or grams or milliliters to liters, and we wanted to convert these answers, say we had some number of grams of X, we could say, okay, there are 1,000 grams per kilogram. Cancel these labels, so we're left with kilograms and whatever we're trying to get. And we have our X kilograms. This method makes it very easy to chain a lot of numbers together and also add your conversion factors. So now let's move on to basic stoichiometry, where you're trying to convert moles of whatever to moles of another substance, or grams to grams, moles to grams, and so on. But before we can do all that math, we need a balanced equation, otherwise it won't be accurate. So let's say in our problem we have Na plus Cl2 to get NaCl, sodium chloride. This is clearly not accurate. We have two chlorides over here, but only one chlorine over here. So we have to add a 2 to get our 2 chlorine to match up with this side. And now that we have 2 sodium, but only 1 sodium over here, we add another 2 over here. I won't go into detail about balancing equations, but we do need the balanced equation to do stoichiometry. So now that we have our equation, we can do our problem, which let's say we have 6.7 moles of sodium, and we need to get how many grams of NaCl would be produced if all of these moles react completely. So, say, okay, for every 2 moles of sodium, since there are 2 moles over here, there ends up being 2 moles of sodium chloride. Now we can cancel our labels because they're divided by each other. And we can also cancel these 2's, since 2 divided by 2 is 1. And now our label right now is moles of sodium chloride. And now, to get grams of sodium chloride, we can say per mole of sodium chloride, there is 58.44 grams of sodium chloride. And now these labels canceled, and we're left with grams of sodium chloride. And now we can do 6.7 times 58.44 to get our final answer. So 68.7 times 58.44 equals 391 grams of sodium chloride. If you are rounding to significant figures, we would only have 2 in this problem because this is the lowest amount. So that would end up being just 390 grams of sodium chloride. Now you can do this problem in any order that you want. If you had grams of sodium and you had to get to moles of sodium chloride, you can also do those steps. But this is the gist of it. My advice is to not really pay attention to the numbers and to pay attention to the labels. The labels are what you need to end up getting to the right answer, because the label all the way over here is the right one. So by almost ignoring the numbers, you can figure it out. All you need is to just write stuff down if you're stuck. So if you would like more content like this, I do stream on Twitch, and I will do more educational chemistry videos in the future. Like if you enjoyed this and this was helpful, and leave a comment if I should explain any other subjects that you like in specific. And thank you for watching.